This is Geometry Unit 5, Lesson 1, on the rest of the notes after the Ed puzzle. Okay, so we were talking about parallel lines and the angles that are formed by them, and if you have these certain angles, then makes the lines parallel. So we need to know these three different kinds of angles. So before we do this last example, I'm going to give you a mnemonic device to help you remember. Okay, so down at the bottom of your paper below this, write capital letters F, U, and N, because these angles are fun. Okay, so we are going to look at the lines that are parallel. Well, this line is parallel to this line on F. And then that gives me this angle and this angle. The angles are in the same place. What kind of angles are these? These are corresponding angles. Angles in the same place are corresponding. And if the lines are parallel, what do we know about corresponding angles? They are congruent. We already saw that in the Ed puzzle. Okay, the second letter in fun is U. This is a parallel line. This is a parallel line. These two angles right here are the angles formed by the parallel lines, making a U. All right, you kind of think of it sideways. Where are they to each other? Well, they're inside the parallel lines, and they are on the same side of the transversal. So these are same side interior and when you have parallel lines, what do we know about these two angles? Are they congruent? No, but they do add up to be 180 degrees, so they are supplementary. Okay, so same side interior angles are supplementary. Okay, the third kind of angles, here's my parallel lines, there's my transversal. These two angles right here would be what kind of angles? They are alternate interior angles. They're inside the parallel lines on opposite sides of the transversal, so alternate interior angles. And what do we know about alternate interior angles? They are congruent. So if you have trouble deciding if it's corresponding, same side or interior, or alternate interior, think of fun. Parallel lines, corresponding angles. Parallel lines, same side interior angles. Parallel lines, alternate interior angles. Okay, so now let's go back up to the top of the page. Whoops, that's not the one. All right, so if we go back to the top of the page, the converse of this theorem is also true. When two lines are cut by a transversal, and the alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines would be parallel. So if we think about our fun angles, here's our fun angles. If these alternate interior angles are congruent, that means these lines are forced to be parallel. So, in the diagram shown, find the measures of the three marked angles and determine if L1 is parallel to L2. So we are pretending that we don't know if these lines are parallel or not. We don't know if they are, because we don't have the measures of the angles. Okay, so can we automatically say that the alternate interior angles are congruent? Do we know if 6x minus 4 is equal to 5x plus 5? No. Okay, so we don't know if the lines are parallel. So we don't know if the lines are parallel, so we don't know if we don't know if the alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay, so we can't say for sure if these two are equal or not because we don't know if they're alternate interior angles. However, what two angles do we know something about? What do we know about 6x minus 4 and 15x minus 5? If you put them together, what do they make? Those two angles are supplementary because they're adjacent angles that make a line. Adjacent angles that make a line are supplementary. So that means that they're going to add up to be 180 degrees. So we can say 6x minus 4 plus 15x minus 5 equals 180. So add those together, you get 21x minus 9 equals 180. Add the 9, 21x equals 189, and then divide by 21, and that gives me x is equal to 9. All right, so now if we use x equals to 9, 6x minus 4 is 6 times 9 minus 4 is 54 minus 4, which is 50. So this angle right here is going to be 50. All right, 15x minus 5, if I did that correctly, 15 times 9 minus 5, 15 times 9 is 135 minus 5 is going to be 130, because these two are supplementary. Okay, now let's do 5x plus 5. 5 times 9 plus 5. 45 plus 5 is 50. So that means that these two angles, our alternate interior angles, are congruent. So what does that tell me about these two lines? That they're going to be parallel. So that means L1 is parallel to L2 because the alternate interior angles are congruent. So if the alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines must be parallel. All right, we could also say the same side interior angles are supplementary. These two right here add up to 180, so that makes these two lines parallel as well. All right, but the alternate interior works just well. So don't assume because it looks like it's parallel that it is. What you have to know is specifically if it's parallel, then you can say the alternate interior angles, corresponding angles, or same side interior angles are supplementary. But if you don't know if it's parallel, you can't say if that's true. All right, so what you need to know is the kinds of angles. So you want your fun angles. There's your fun angles. Know what they're called. Know when they're congruent or supplementary. All right, and then use that information to figure out the values that you need.